At a billionaire's funeral, a young man walks in wearing dark sunglasses, an unlit cigarette, and a nightclub attitude. He is pushing through the grieving crowd to get to the front row. He isn't there to mourn his grandfather. He is there to find out how many zeros are on the check. After the service, the family lawyer reveals a complication. There is no immediate inheritance. Instead, the late Howard Red left his grandson a locked box containing a series of instructions and a warning. To access the wealth, he must first complete a sequence of tests. This grandson represents the extreme end of the entitlement spectrum. When a mind is raised with every physical need met by a trust fund, the biological drive for effort begins to atrophy. The brain learns that comfort is the default state, and that any exertion is an unnecessary cost. The grandfather's plan was a form of radical neurochemical intervention. By forcing his heir into specific, uncomfortable environments, he intended to strip away the external buffers of wealth until the boy's brain had to find an internal reason to keep going. Chronic laziness is often a byproduct of an environment that provides rewards without requiring effort. When the internal motivation matrix goes dormant, it requires a significant disruption to start the engine again. The first test begins on a remote Texas farm. The heir is stripped of his designer clothes and told he has 30 days to dig and set a mile of fence posts. If he refuses the labor, he forfeits the entire estate. For the first week, he struggles with intense psychological resistance. He tries to bribe the farmhands and searches for a cell signal to call for help. His brain perceives this unchosen, repetitive labor as a threat to his comfort, triggering a cycle of frustration and fatigue. By the third week, the resistance fades into a rhythm. He starts focusing on the alignment of the posts and the depth of the holes. He is no longer working for the inheritance, he is working to finish the line. This illustrates the initial feedback loop. When labor is seen as a punishment, physical exhaustion leads directly to a mental rejection of the task. The brain sees no value in the output, so it tries to shut down the effort. The shift occurs when the work takes on a personal meaning. The effort remains the same, but the brain's interpretation of the exhaustion changes. Finishing a tangible task creates a reliable dopamine release, proving that the mind can learn to find satisfaction in the exertion itself. A durable work ethic develops when the brain stops waiting for an external reward and starts recognizing the internal pleasure of completing the job. The second test targets his social environment. The lawyer freezes the grandson's bank accounts and cancels his leases. Within 48 hours, his social circle disappears. His girlfriend leaves him when his card declines, and his mother refuses him. He is left with nothing but the clothes on his back, eventually finding himself sleeping on a park bench. Every financial and status-based buffer has been removed. While living in the park, he sees a mother and her young daughter being harassed. He intercedes, physically placing himself between them and the threat. It is the first time he has acted without a transactional motive. His previous relationships were fueled by his ability to provide luxury, which left him perpetually drained. This new connection, built on a shared moment of vulnerability, provides him with a sense of social belonging that actually increases his energy. Human motivation is a social process. Removing the distorting effect of wealth reveals that authentic connection is a necessary fuel for any sustained, meaningful effort. The third test provides him with $500, but he is forbidden from spending it on himself. He has to evaluate the needs of others and decide who is most deserving of the resource. He attempts to pay an overdue hospital bill for the mother he met in the park. Upon arriving at the ward, he discovers that the little girl is in the final stages of a terminal illness. The money he saved is a drop in the bucket compared to her needs. He stops worrying about the lawyer's tests and uses his remaining influence to organize a simulated Christmas. He spends weeks coordinating a private day at a ranch so the girl can experience horseback riding for the first time. The act of serving a dying child shifts his perspective. His brain is no longer scanning for ways to maximize his own comfort. It is focused entirely on fulfilling a specific external need. This experience shows how empathy can override comfort-seeking behaviors. By focusing on a cause larger than himself, he has found a reason to push through exhaustion that the inheritance could never provide. After the girl passes away, the lawyer asks the grandson a final question. What does he plan to do now? The grandson proposes building a network of affordable housing and support centers for families of pediatric patients. He has moved from being a consumer of resources to a creator of systems. The lawyer grants him the full $100 million inheritance. The grandfather used the wealth as leverage, realizing it would only serve its owner when directed toward a clear objective, rather than being used to avoid one. The journey shows that a drive for hard things is the result of three specific layers: the discipline of labor, the energy of connection, and the drive for impact. When these three elements align, the result is a clear sense of direction. Meaning comes from shouldering a weight that matters. For the grandson, the grandfather's final gift was the realization that a life of effortless comfort is actually a form of starvation.